for you, I can't imagine, and you do a lot of different things, but I can't imagine you ever doing anything else. It's like you bleed all of those things, like everything you do, and inspiring other filmmakers to do what they're doing, and people to start different things. Because now you started the New York Latino Film Festival in the year 2000. You said like 98 you started maybe coming up with the concept or had some other conversations.
So, you know, I've always been of this, you know, you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been. And so in 98, me and a mutual friend of ours, Paris Jones, you know, we had this short film that we were working on.
What was it called?
Latin Lingo. It was a day in the life of this kid who was a papi chulo, and you know, he's a womanizer until he learns his lesson, kind of a thing. And you know, we did some hood stuff. You know, we were raising money with, you know, we were selling candy on the trains in New York. Wow. We were doing shows to raise money for it. We did everything to try to. There was no crowd, funding, any of that. We did street funding. Wow. And so we were on the trains and trying to sell this candy, M&Ms and stuff.
Whatever it takes, right?
Whatever it takes. I mean, we did shows and people paid to see our shows and we raised the money. But along the way, when I was in post-production, you know, those are the things that I learned. Like, I had issues in my sound, and even though we had quality people work around us, there were some issues. And then really where it hit the fan is in post-production. You know, I kind of got screwed up along the way. You know, you sign an agreement. Oh, I'm going to help you cut this film, whatever. Said company goes bankrupt, and then your film gets lost. But along the way, you know, I was really fortunate because we got a lot of heat. We got a lot of attention to how we were doing things and just that go-getter young people doing things. So we were getting a lot of notoriety. But also at the same time, you know, I was working with a Black and Latino crew. And we were like, okay, well, what happens to this film afterwards? Where we're going to play? And there wasn't a Tribeca. There wasn't anything that really, right, there really wasn't anything that existed in New York City, which is crazy. Yeah. And so you had that going on. You had my lived experience going on. And then on top of that, if you can round circles around it, then you had a larger issue of diversity and inclusion. That conversation was beginning to percolate. But even more so, you know, you had Ricky Martin and this Latin explosion, and everyone, the general market, finally piquing an interest into us and saying, you know what, Latinos are going to be the dominant, you know, majority. They're not going to minority, but they're going to be the majority.
Isn't the majority of moviegoers?
Everything. Like we were going to be like, people were predicting this back when Ricky Martin did, you know, La Vida Loca, which is when we started to come out. And it was like, you got to look at them. So there was that sphere. And then you had the studios that were interested in like, okay, well, how do we target this community? And so with that, I was like, well, what if we created a space where we not only build audiences for the work, but we educated filmmakers on how this business goes. And then we educate the industry on what the culture's putting out, what the culture's, you know, producing, and create this forum where we were getting to really know and learn about the business and learn about each other and build audiences for the work. And it was really important for us, particularly as a Latino film festival that really didn't quite exist in this level anymore at all at that point, I'm sorry, to really teach the audiences like the importance of their role. Like everything that we do as creatives is for, you know, our gente, for the audiences. And we need their support, whether it's buying a ticket, coming through, but particularly buying a ticket. We need you to support the content that we're creating for you. And it was, you know, for us, it was always about putting audiences first and then educating the filmmakers and the industry on what the culture was doing. Wow.
Yeah, it's like identifying a problem based on something that a film that you started and then saw where you needed to improve based on being a filmmaker and learning that kind of thing. But like, as I'm learning, what about, there's this whole
ecosystem.
Yeah. And then now, wow, that's brilliant. And so then it eventually launched. First year was 2000.
Yeah.
Wow, that's easy for numbers to be able to always know what year you're on.
But it's crazy. You look back and it's like, you know, we really had to teach an audience. We had to build an audience from scratch with no social media, with none of that. It was like door to door, you know,
Yeah, the
doing
groundwork,
males and, you know, e-blast, but it was like, it's the 2000s. So it's
Yeah.
a different time.